since school closed, and it's using logs to solve equations. So we're going to take what we practiced with the quick log review the other day and apply it to this. And I think you're going to find it pretty straightforward. So let's take a look at the first one. It says solve 8 to the x plus 1 equals 4 to the 2x. Now you should have your notebooks out and should be copying these down and putting in your notebooks as if we were in school. These are your notes for today. What I want you guys to notice is, look at this, 8 and 4. What number do both of these come from? And I'm hoping you're thinking 2, and you're correct if that's the case. So I'm going to rewrite 8 as 2 cubed to the x plus 1, and 4 I'm going to change into 2 squared raised to the 2x. Then when you raise a power to a power, you multiply. So this becomes 2 to the 3x plus 3 equals, and again 2, raise that would be to the 4x. Now, once your bases are the same, that's when we worked with just the exponents. Like that. And then we solve it. Subtract 3x, and we end up with 3 equals x. And that's the answer to the first one. So that's something we had done before. A lot of you were really good at that. Now let's take a look at the next one. 3 to the x equals 5. Now here's where things get interesting. Look at these two. Can we make these the same base like we did here? Made these into a 2. And the answer is no, we can't. When that happens, that's when logs come into play. What we can do is make them the same base. So I'm going to make this log 3 to the x equals log 5. Now, technically, they're the same base. They're both log base 10. Now, there's a rule in logs that says anytime you have an exponent attached to a log, the exponent falls in front. So that becomes x log 3 equals log 5. Now, to get the x alone, you divide both sides by log 3. And that makes x equals log 5 over log 3. So that's an acceptable answer. Now, there is another acceptable answer for all this. And I'm going to put the word or here. Right? There are 2 ways of doing all these questions. This is one way. And then the other way uses our fancy log button in our calculator. If I were to take 3 to the x equals 5, and I rewrite this using logs, this would be log base 3, 5 equals x. Now, technically, that's an okay answer as well. So this or this are considered acceptable answers. And depending on the question, one's better than the other, and usually that has to do with multiple choices, and you'll see that later. All right, now I want to deal with our special number e. E to the x equals 4. Now e, if I bring our calculator in here and try to get the glare off it, if you type in e in your calculator, e is above the division button. I'm going to hit second. You get 2.718. That is not the same as 4. There's no way of making them the same. So we're going to log it. Now, e gets its own special log called the natural log. So it's ln e to the x equals ln 4. So whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other. Now, this exponent will fall in front. X natural log of e equals the natural log of 4. Now, this is special. I'm going to show you something. There's its own natural log button right here next to the 4. If I hit natural log and then I put in e, look what I get. I get the number 1. So this guy becomes the number 1, and that becomes x equals natural log of 4. Right. Now, Just like this guy could have been done two ways. Technically, he could too. All right, or. If I take e to the x equals 4 and I log it, just like I did this guy, instead of using log log, I'm going to use the natural log. The base is e, 4 goes there, equals x. These two mean exactly the same thing. There's actually a little e here. I don't have to write it. So both of these answers are the same. All right, now let's talk about this guy. No way 3 and 100 come from the same thing. This is going to be log 3 to the 2x equals log 100. All right, the 2x falls in front. Okay. Now, I want to get x alone. So to get x alone, I'm going to divide by everything that isn't the x. So I'm going to divide by the 2 and the log 3. So this cancels and this cancels. So I end up with x equals log 100 all over 2 log 3. Now, what's important is that's the answer, right? But most of the time, these questions are going to say round to the nearest 100th, right? That means you want to convert your answer into a decimal if that ever pops up. So you just do it all on your calculator. I'm actually going to get a little closer so you can see the calculator better. What we're going to do now, I'm going to turn it on, is, because it's a fraction, I'm going to do second, right, get my fraction up. I'm going to hit the log button. The log button's over here next to the 7. You get it. Right next to the 7, it says log. So I'm going to hit log. I'm going to type in 100 over 2. Hit that log button again. 3. Whoop, 3. And I'm getting this guy. Now, this is going to round. If I want nearest 100th, I got to go to the 5. The 5 rounds the 9 up to a 10. So this becomes x equals 2.10. Let me see if I can push that up a little bit so you can see it. And this would be the answer if I wanted it rounded to the nearest 10th. So that's basically what we're going to be doing. So now, I'm going to pull this up again. I want you guys to practice some of these. So try these. I want you to solve each, round each to the nearest 100th. Now keep in mind, right, you guys do have if you don't have your own calculator, I did put the app, and not an app, I did put a link on Google Classroom. Texas Instruments has got a free one that they're offering. And if you don't have that, then other options you have are to download apps on your calculators, on your phones. There's apps of calculators you could download on your phones. So what I would do is pause me, try these, and see how you do. And then turn me back on. Option 1 and option 2 means what are the two different ways of getting the answers. So pause me, give it a try, and see how you do. Okay, so I hope you pause me. And let's take a look at this. Okay, option 1. One way of doing this is to just write it using log. So it's log base 530 equals x. That's it. Then I will go to my calculator. Turn it on. Now, to do that log, you're going to hit math and go up twice so it says log base. Hit enter. Type in 5 and then type in 30. And I want nearest 100, so it's 2 decimal point places. So that's 2.11 equals x. Right? The other option is to log both sides. So I'm going to do log 5 to the x equals log 30. The x falls down in front. Okay? I'm going to divide both sides by log 5. So x equals, so now guys, I'm going to do log 30 divided by log 5 in my calculator. And again, the log button's right next to the 7. I'm going to hit log 30, close it, divided by log 5. And you notice we have the exact same decimal. And that has to happen. And there we go. That's the first one. So if you realize you did it wrong, pause me again. Try the next one before turning me back on. Okay, so let's try the next one. Option 1, I'm going to do the simple way, like over here. I'm going to do log little 2, 3 over 16 equals x. Again, back to my calculator. See if I can get closer so you can see the buttons I'm pushing. And I got a mean glare, so let's see if I can move this up more. All right, so I hit the math button. I'm scrolling up twice, so it says log base, hit enter. The base is little baby numbers of 2. And in there, I'm going to do my fraction button, 3 over 16. I'm getting negative 2.42, because I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, so the 5 is making the 1 round up. So this is x equals negative 2.42. All right, now I'm going to do it the other way, where I log both sides. So it's log 2 to the x equals log 3 over 16. The x falls down in front. Now I'm going to divide by log 2. We get x equals, now if I do this right, I should get the exact same decimal. Now, I'm going to do log, the log button is next to the 7. I'm going to do log, the basic log button is next to 7. So log, what was it, fraction, 3 over 16, right? Close the parenthesis, divided by the log button 2. And I'm getting the exact same answer, so that's always a good thing. All right, so let's take a look at the next one now. Next one is a little more work. What do you think we have to do first? Right? I'm hoping you're all screaming subtract the 9. Right? So it becomes 5 to the 2w equals 31. All right, now I'm going to rewrite this. This becomes log base 5, 31 equals 2w. All right, now I got to get w alone, so I got to divide by 2. So now, go to my calculator, get it out of the glare. I'm going to hit math, go up twice. So it's log little 5, 31. Right? We'll take all that and divide it by 2. I'm getting 1.07 when I round to the nearest hundredth. There we go. Right? Now we're going to do it the other way, where I log both sides. So it's log 5 2w equals log 31. Now the 2w falls in front. Now I want to get w alone, so I'm going to divide by the 2 and the log 5. W equals, now this is my calculator, do log 31, divide by, now, since there's a bunch of things in this denominator, when you divide by that, you just type in parentheses 2 log 5, and close the parentheses twice. All right, notice we've got the same decimal. Or if you want to, you guys could always use the fraction button and do log 31 on top and then put in 2 log 5. That might be the easier way to do this one. And you notice all these answers came out to be the same thing in the calculator. So here are all the answers. I've got to circle this one. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this one. Option 1 of doing this, simply just put that in your calculator. We're basically done, right? So I'm going to clear math, go up twice. Right, that's 7. Oops. And then we're going to put 75. And I'm getting 2.22. So this one I'm just throwing in the calculator as it is. By far the easiest way of doing that question. Now, let's do it the other way. Let's do it out the long way. This would be 7 to the x equals 75, right? If we rewrote it, base exponent number, then we're going to log it. Right? Exponent falls in front. Now we're going to divide by log 7. They get x equals. So you can put that in as a fraction if you want. You practiced that a minute ago. I'm going to do log 75. Now remember, the log button's next to the 7. Log 75 over log 7. And I'm getting the exact same answer, 2.22. All right. So let's try a few more trickier versions of this now. All right. Now in this one, I want to find it to the nearest tenth. So it means I'm going to 1 decimal point place. And what would I do first on this one? Good. Divide by 2. That cancels. So I get 3 to the x plus 2 equals 10. Now, 2 ways of doing this question, right? Option 1. You can rewrite it as log little bitty 310 equals x plus 2. Then to get the x alone, I'm going to subtract over the 2. So I'm going to put log base 310 minus 2 equals x. So now I'm going to put that in my calculator. Right? So I'm going to hit the math button, scroll up twice. So it's a little bitty 3, right? 10. Then push out of the parenthesis to do the minus 2. And I'm getting 0.1. Okay. The other option, option number 2, is to log both sides. So it's log 3 to the x plus 2 equals log 10. Now, when this drops in front, because there's 2 pieces, you got to put parentheses around it like this. X plus 2 log 3 equals log 10. Now, trying to get this alone, so I'm going to divide by log 3 next. That cancels. So now I've got x plus 2 equals log 10 over log 3. Now to get the x alone, I'm going to subtract the 2 over. So that's log 10 over log 3 minus 2. Now, I'm going to throw that in my calculator, and if we did it right, we should get the exact same answer. So I'm going to do fraction button, log 10 over log 2, is it log 2? Log 3 minus 2. And look at that, same exact answer. Now some of you are wondering, why would I ever want to do it this way? It's so much longer. Sometimes you don't have a choice. If it's a multiple choice question, they can force you to do it one way or the other, and you're going to see that in a few minutes. All right, next one. If we're given this, find t, right? And if you notice, t is in the exponent. Anytime the thing you're looking for is an exponent, it means we're going to have to use logs. One of my favorite lines is I always say, if the x is in the exponent, you got to log it. And that's what we have here. So before I can log it, though, I've got to get the e by itself, all this stuff. So I have to divide by a first. That cancels. So get e to the bt equals c over a. Now we can log it. And when we log it, because it's an e, we're going to use a natural log. Like that. Okay. Now, when we do logs, anytime we have an exponent, it's going to fall down in front. So I'm going to bring this up here. So the bt falls down in front. Natural log of e equals the natural log of c over a. Now, a few minutes ago, I mentioned anytime you see this, what's that the same as? That's the number 1. So anytime you see the natural log of e, it's going to become the number 1. So this becomes bt equals the natural log of c over a. And to get the t alone, we're going to divide by b. So this answer is t equals the natural log, sometimes you can put it in parentheses like that, all over b. And that is the answer to that question. All right, now why don't you guys try this one on your own? Pause me for a second. Give this one a try. Okay, so I hope you pause me. I'm hoping the first thing you did was divide by 3. That cancels. So e to the 4x equals 5 over 3. Now I'm going to log it. Natural log e to the 4x equals the natural log of 5 over 3. All right, so I'm going to bring it up here. And then the next step is this exponent should have fallen in front. Right. And again, natural log of e becomes the number 1. So this becomes 4x equals the natural log of 5 over 3. And then divide by 4, right? So you get 5 over 3 over 4. Now, unlike the last question, we're not done, because this asked me for it to the nearest 10th. So now I'm going to go to my calculator, right? I'm going to make a fraction. Here, let me clear it off. Fraction, right? The numerator is the natural log. And again, the natural log is, in case you can't see it, right next to the 4. Natural log, another fraction, 5 over 3, close the parentheses, all over, what number was it? 4. And to the nearest 10th would be 0.1 again. So x equals 0.1. All right, now one more for you to practice. It's a multiple choice question. So what I want you guys to do is take a minute, pause this, and see if you can come up with the right choice. And then turn me back on. All right, so I hope you pause me. This guy, by the way it looks, I'm going to have to log it. Now, look what they did here. This was a little mean. They didn't use log log for these guys. They used the natural log. And the deal is, the natural log you can use instead of log log anytime you want. So what I usually do is look at the choices, see which type of log they use, and then use the same thing. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to do the natural log 6 to the x minus 2 equals the natural log of 7. So the exponent's going to fall in front. Now because there's two things, when it falls in front, I'm going to put it in parentheses to keep it separate. So then I do that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is divide by the natural log of 6. Right? So look what I have here. So looking like it's going to be this guy. See, this is going to cancel. I get x minus 2 equals the natural log of 7 over the natural log of 6. And then what would I do to get the x alone? I would add it over to the other side. Right? And that's the same thing as choice C. So that's the correct answer to that question. All right, guys, that's your first new topic. I do have an assignment for you guys. I think I have 8 of them. I can't remember exactly. Actually, there might be more than that. 15. There's actually 15 of them. So you do need a calculator. And give those a try and put the answers into the link I provided.